Although on the 23rd of March, Britain's lockdown, in truth, was not completely lifted, lo and behold, refreshed air was soon to be gifted birdsong. They must have been wondering, had the previous generation changed the locks? It had been so long, but they found each other's voices. Well, why else sing? Their silence was ours. Choices locked in, the polluting din, the as of yet unresolved twin revolutions of mechanized burning, debt financialized, funding futures, yet returning time to an earth before birdsong. Before birdsong fulfilled the quality of air, when time became the turning of a care-free, non-essential, workerless key. Money, chirpy, chirpy, cheap, cheap, chirpy, chirpy, cheap, 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 cheaper, cheaper, cheaper still, still, quiet, gone. Still hope is just waiting, as grief flies in the face of drenched, rescued orphans, elicit an aghast surprise when the cameras close in and the viewers realise those pimples, fake, a disguise, their shifting surface, a multitude of buzzing, hairy eyes. Good grief! Flies being served as canapes from silver platters at shareholders' parties, celebrating the market's highs on the still warm fumes from the shit that rise to the surface of whose drinking water supplies. Grief flies, fornicating in the silence that buys time for the business as usual governance, the big silence behind the lip-servicing appearance that they give a shit. Feces, pardon. They say feces, we say species, feces, species, feces, species, species, feces. Let's call the whole thing an asteroid collision, reenacted in seismic slow motion of systemic combustion upon ignition for the extraction of living. Lives, debts for collection. Lives, black matter in the energy mix, the capitalist fix of what was not broken until inhuman acts upon inhumane acts ad infinitum, still accumulating in the token of time, crime paying money, chirpy, chirpy, cheap, 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 grief flies on the surface of white lies. In the disarming warmth of the sun, lick the tick toxic time that across the face of the earth has become passing gas. Charming. Class. The greenhouse class effect. Molecules in death. Fuels capitalism's respect. The bottom line, mainlined into lifetime, direct with a junkie-like acuity to feed the cruelty of money's habit. Because money has got to have it. Money has got to have it so bad, it's unreal money. Chirpy, chirpy, cheap, cheap, chirpy, chirpy, cheap, cheap, cheaper, cheaper, cheaper still. Still grief flies are laying their eggs in the still hope that lies to the pit of your stomach. A dissection of the self-same guts from which emanates the no ifs and no buts of love's labours found in their look, in your eyes. Those for whom you would heaven and earth move, that they should realise the haven of self-assured adulthood, whole, secure, replete. So, what is with this incubating stillness? This waiting, this untilness, until the law of conspiracy applies to gatherings of more than two persons discussing the future, and at least one of them tries. Until a line is crossed, and enough people that look like you every day are lost to the climate's rancorous rages. Until the big silence of this age is interpreted and printed on all the front pages. Read all about it. Read all about it. The business as usual governance, big silence with a density of consequence without comparison or precedent. This silence at the heart of business as government. Did it begin with gold as flesh and blood, dispossessed, without a life, transported, sold, without a life jacket, smuggled without a life racket, until there's a sign in the skies, until ultrasound scans start to pick up fear behind their eyes, along with those tiny toes and hands, until in the meantime becomes their time, while all the while whiles its way to become their children's now. Their now is yours, ours, now.